Hello, and welcome to the C.A.P podcast. I am your host, Carma Spence, the Own Your Awesome in Business and Life coach. Today, my special guest is Jamie Turndorf. She's known to millions as Dr. Love on radio and television. She has been delighting audiences for 3 decades with her engaging blend of expertise and spicy humor. Her success is largely due to her remarkable ability to turn clinical psychobabble into entertaining and easy-to-understand concepts that transform lives. The reason I have her on the C.A.P podcast today is because of her latest book, Love Never Dies: How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased, which just came out in August. You see, as entrepreneurs, our lives and our businesses are very intertwined. And so whenever we experience a grief, whether it be in our life or our business, if we're not able to move through it in a positive manner, then it can create blockages everywhere. So example, if we lost a loved one, it can block our business. If we lost a big client, it can block our lives. So welcome to the C.A.P podcast, Dr. Turndorf. I'm excited to talk with you about your unique way of dealing with grief.
Oh, I'm so happy. People always ask me, how did this book come about? And it really begins with my own incredible story. In fact, Love Never Dies tells in the first part of my amazing love story. Because from the time I was a young girl, I had a premonition of the man I was going to marry. So I waited for him to appear in my life. I just didn't date. Very, 18th century.
Oh my goodness.
He did appear on the first day of my freshman year. I had been shut out of all introductory sociology classes, and the secretary said, go ask the department chair, Jean Pain, if he can find a seat for you in one of the closed classes. So the minute I walk into his office, I have the first and only out-of-body experience I've ever had in my life. I feel my soul shooting through a tunnel at high speed to the end of my life. And I get this message: remember every aspect of this meeting because he's going to be everything to you one day. And then I forget about it. I just forget, go about my life until my senior year when I needed statistics for my thesis. And I had heard that Jean had been, among other things, a statistician. Well, it turns out I found out he had also been one of the most famous Jesuit priests. For most of his life, he taught at the Vatican. He launched international fame when he publicly opposed the Pope and the Catholic Church. They were attempting to block the legalization of divorce, and he founded a movement called Liberation Theology. He fought church oppression from within, launched to international fame. Then eventually the Pope granted him the dispensation. He left the Jesuit order, the priesthood. He comes to Vassar, so I meet him like this. He's being drawn to Vassar, right?
Right.
So he helps me with the statistics of my thesis because he had run the Vatican's first and only research center. And within a couple of weeks, we fell madly in love. Wow. So now we spend our entire 27 years I'm with this man. We adore each other. We write books together. We restore houses together. We're just absolutely inseparable. The last year of his life, I start having a premonition he's going to die somehow of an accident. I don't know when or where. So we go to Italy on vacation, and he dies in front of my eyes from a bee sting. A bee sting. He's ripped from me, and now I have to say, here he is, this devout, spiritual, mystical man. The Dalai Lama said he was one of the 50 people of all time who was one with God. Meanwhile, I was raised by 2 Jewish atheists. Right? The only religion they practiced was religiously hating each other. They taught me not to believe in God or the afterlife. But the minute this man left his body, he made his presence known to me. I go back to the hotel room. I'm shaking. I'm trembling. I'm crying. And I feel his hand stroke the entire length of my spine. And that was just the beginning. He has been with me ever since. So in Love Never Dies, I start with my own memoir where I tell his amazing manifestations, often in front of witnesses, because he wanted me to let the world know we don't die. Yeah. Our relationships do not end in death. So as a result of my own personal experiences with him, I discovered that I have to create a new grief therapy method because I know as a shrink, the Western approach to grief leaves the bereaved at an even greater loss, because the Western party line is grieve, let go, and move on, which just leaves us at a complete loss. And as I discovered, because we don't die, we need to reconnect. We need to say hello, not goodbye. And then also, because as a shrink, I know the Western approach to grief therapy offers us no way of making peace with the deceased. And I can't think of a soul alive who doesn't harbor some unfinished business, right, with someone who's passed. So I'm taking my conflict resolution method and I'm bringing it to the world of after-death communication. And it's amazing how people are just making peace and finding just joy in their hearts. And I mean, basically, we all need to reconnect and stay connected. We're not meant to live in an emotional wasteland disconnected from the people we love.